Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Federal Drug and Alcohol Testing Frequently Asked Question channel, where we talk about everything in drug and alcohol testing. I know we're going to just be into everything. Yeah, like I got a whole bunch of stuff coming, some very unique things coming. We're actually going to be doing some live interviews with, you ever see these names? Like, who are these MROs and who are these CTPAs and who are the cops and the attorneys and the inspectors and the investigators and who are these people? But we're gonna meet them. We're gonna talk to them, gonna interview them and get to know them, and just gonna have a great time on this channel. So in order to keep up with those things, you're going to need to hit that like button and that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell if you want to keep update with what's going on this channel, because it's just going to be crazy. Just all kind of inside information. Because like right now, do we even know what's going on with saliva? I mean, we don't even know what's going on with that thing. It's just like out there fizzing in the industry and just stuff, right? So we're going to have fun with those things. Now, I'm going to talk to you today about something very, very fun and interesting about a symposium that's coming up in Colorado Springs. I think June 23rd, 24th, with this institute called DATI Institute. So you can go ahead and make sure you check that out. And I'm going to have an interview right after this video, so make sure you stay tuned. And because we're going to talk to somebody at DATI Institute and see what it's all about and all this great stuff that they got coming. And guess what? I'm going to be there. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. They're going to actually give me a microphone. All this good stuff to share, especially when we're talking about being an FAA inspector and the fun things that you can look forward to, and what to watch out for. So we're going to have fun with that. So just make sure if you can come, make sure you come out to the DATI Institute Symposium, and we're going to have a great time. And there's something about some whitewater rafting that I think she's going to try to get me to do, but I don't know. We'll see how adventurous I'm going to be. But nonetheless, I am going to read off a list of names of people who are going to be at the symposium, and then we're going to talk with Penny Lyons, who is one of the individuals that's a part of putting this all together. So the first person we're going to talk about is David Koontz. He has a PhD. He's executive director for analytical toxicology at Clinical Reference Laboratory in Kansas. And so if you see me looking down, I have not memorized any of these names because I just can't do that. So I'm going to be actually reading them. So if you see me looking down, trying to act like I'm looking at some type of teleprompter, I'm not. It's just a Word doc that I'm just reading off of. Okay. So, and we've probably seen David Koontz's name on some stuff, right? So I'm gonna try to get him on the show too, so we can find out like what he looks like. Is he look like David Hasselhoff or somebody like who are these people? So we're going to try to get David Koontz onto the show and talk to him. All right, so we got Nathan Demers. He's a psychologist. He's going to be there talking about a lot of great things. All these people are going to be talking about some very interesting things. Joe Ryan Hartley, who's a criminal investigator for the 18th District Attorney Office in Denver, Metro of Colorado. So we're going to be talking with some criminal investigators. Julia Rismaldo, I hope I said that right. If not, just hit me in the comment section and say you got it wrong or you almost got it right. But Julia, I promise I didn't mess it up, but sorry. Matt Stoneburger, who is an agent with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and assigned to the, I want to say the black market marijuana unit. So we get to talk and see like what's going on in these states, after marijuana has become legal. Like, how is it really affecting the drug and alcohol program and safety sensitive employees and things of that nature? So Matt Stoneburger, we'll try to get these guys on. I mean, if they can come on, I don't know, being investigators and all, but we'll see. Ray Padilla, who is a task force officer assigned to the DEA Denver Division Financial Investigations Group. And he's also focused on that marijuana industry as well, the organized crime part of it. So, you know, again, that whole marijuana thing floating in the air. Kyle Hicks is the director of marketing for Omega Laboratories. Jerry Powers, who is responsible for all aspects of the FRA. And when you talk about somebody responsible for all of something, especially with the, you know, some government agency, then that should be interesting. So I can't wait to talk to him. You think we can get Jerry on? I don't know. Let's see if we can get Jerry on. Talk to Jerry. All right. So we got Jenny Burke, who is a licensed attorney in Illinois. She's advancing the National Safety Council's mission of eliminating preventable death in our lifetime by leading the NSC's advocacy initiative. So that should be interesting as well. All of these things are interesting, to tell you the truth. Jeffrey Cease is a technology and fatigue management specialist. He's helped launch the predictive fatigue platform Prism. The fatigue platform Prism, which is PRISM, in the mining industry. We need to get him on and find out what this Prism thing is, right? And I'm curious too. Let's see if we get Jeffrey on. All right, and there's more guests coming from other federal agencies. It's just that, you know how the federal agencies are going right now. So we have to wait kind of till the last minute to find out who they're sending and whatever. And maybe we'll get Chet up here. Chet's from the FAA. Chet was my mentor and my old supervisor. So that would be great to be in a forum with him. It'd be awesome. And who else is coming from the FMCSA and some of the other entities, and also with the non-federal entities as well. So it's like a whole host of things. And that's why I brought Penny on, so she can be able to tell us what this is all about. So now Penny, she's basically currently, she's the Director of Business Development and Regulatory Compliance for Midland Testing and Visio Health. She was actually the DER for Union Pacific Railroad for 22 years. So she was a DER for 22 years with the Union Pacific Railroad. So this is going to be very, very fun talking with Penny. So make sure you tune in. And we're going to talk about the DAT Institute Symposium, which is happening June 23rd, 24th at the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And it's a beautiful place, man. I was looking at the pictures of it and everything. It's like, it's beautiful. I am going to be there, but it's beautiful. All right. So with that said, without further ado, let's get into talking with Penny, and let's see what she has to say about the symposium. And again, remember, hit that like and subscribe button. All the information about the symposium is going to be in the description box below, and everything about my course, Managing an FAA Drug and Alcohol Program, as well as the drug collection training program for Health and Human Services. So you can go to my website at www.federaldrugtestingservices.com to see if I'm going to be in a city near you, and just come on out, register, come out to the course. It's a 2-day, very intense course. It's not anything dealing with reasonable suspicion training or anything that is going to conflict the training that you have with your CTPAs, which is awesome. But this is something totally different. We go really, really in depth into these regulations, 114 CFR 120, as well as 4940, but we go into some stuff, you know, like maintenance records and log books and flight logs and all these things. But anyway, without further ado, again, I'll see you later. And remember, it's not Greg's way, it's the regs way. Hello, everybody. And just like I was talking about earlier about my special guest, and this is actually the very first guest that we're going to have on the YouTube channel. So we're going to have many, many more to come. And so now we're just going to get into it with my guest, Penny. Penny, welcome to the Federal Drug and Alcohol Testing FAQ YouTube channel.
That's a mouthful. Thank you very much. I'm actually really excited to be the first, and good luck with all the additional guests that I'm sure you're going to be having.
Well, they're going to have to follow your shoes, though. So you're going to set the bar high, you know, like
as we were talking before we went on air, I was talking about the law books and whatever you got behind you, because when I was talking to you yesterday, it looked nothing like that.
No, this is our conference room. And so the building used to be a law office, so we have lots of legal books.
Do you use them? Or are they like law stuff that you can use, or are they just there for props?
No, they're real books.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So is it drug testing material, or is it just?
It's just a lot of law books, not necessarily
really?
drug testing. No.
Okay.
Those are all in my office. All the drug testing ones are in my office.
You know, it's so funny. I'm sitting there looking at the screen and I look so much bigger than you.
Well, that's because I'm so far away from the camera.
Is that what it is? I can't go any further back because my green screen is behind me. As you can see, it's flashing and everything. So anyway, so I am really honored to do this. This is something fresh for the industry. But as I gave your introduction earlier, so let's talk about the symposium and what actually is DATI. Is it DATI?
It's kind of, I think the easiest way to say it is DAT Institute, because it's Drug and Alcohol Testing Institute. Okay. And what it is providing education for anything related to running a drug and alcohol program. So everything from the federal regulations to drug and alcohol testing, going into non-regulated areas as well. So for example, I've done things on how to host a good hearing. So if you have to dismiss somebody for a drug and alcohol policy violation, how should you go about that? What kind of things do you need to present in the hearing? So anything related to drug and alcohol.
So now let me ask you, there's so many, well, I can't say so many because it really isn't that many, you know, when it comes to this type of environment. So I wanted to kind of get it separated from a conference,
yeah,
you know, and an association from the Institute, because you guys are something totally different. And I've been in the industry for probably 15 years and I've never heard of this before. So it is so exciting to me because it branches out into so many different arenas. And I just really love that.
Right. Well, the difference for this is that it concentrates on what a DER, a designated employer representative, or a manager of a program, a drug and alcohol testing program, it concentrates on what's important to them. So it's not what's important to the labs, what's important to an SAP. No, it's really that employer and what they need to get their jobs done.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, like one of the individuals that I can't wait to hear speak is from the FRA, because you don't really hear much from all these different entities. You know, they speak when they do speak, they speak very briefly. Right. You know, whatever, but I actually have never heard anybody speak from the FRA.
Yeah, well, Jerry Powers is coming, and Jerry Powers, he's very easygoing and easy to talk to. And so he'll do his presentation, because I've been to several of his, and they're pretty laid back and casual, where yes, he welcomes all those conversations, ask him the questions. And he's the top guy for the drug and alcohol program in the FRA. So he's where the buck stops. So he's awesome.
So that's originally your field though, right?
Yes.
FRA. So yes, tell us about that. Like you came from that, like, and where are you at now? Because you went from that and now you're doing something else, but you have a vast array of knowledge as well. So share that with us.
Well, I was with Union Pacific for 22 years. And 13 of those years, I was their lead DER. And they have 44,000, or at the time they had 44,000 employees. Now they probably have about 30 because they've been downsizing. But responsible for drug testing for all of those people. And that included locomotive engineers, conductors, and then they had a very robust company policy testing program. And that's what I ran. There was, when I started out, there was a computer system that was basically a DOS computer system.
DOS, and, I remember that.
I commissioned and worked with a team to build a custom system. Wow. And it is extremely robust. And it's one of the reasons why they only have one DER now for all of those people. 30,000 people and one DER, and they still have a very robust program.
How often do they call you?
Not that often, because I trained my replacement and she's very good.
Oh, okay.
And I left there to come to Midlands, and I've been with Midlands almost, well, it's been about 1.5 years now. Okay. And since I came on, Laura Lee she wanted to do something that brings up the professionalism of the DERs and the collectors as well, but concentrating on the DERs. What do they need to be successful? And that's where we came up with this idea to start the Drug and Alcohol Testing Institute, where we provide training that is specific to DERs.
And it's interesting, but you go through all different agencies and components, right? You're not just
right.
Yeah.
So the majority of testing is done under Part 40 regulation, which is the same for all the modes. So that's convenient for me. But I've also had to study and learn FAA, FMCSA. Well, in FMCSA, Union Pacific had a trucking of 6,000 truck drivers. So I was already very familiar with FMCSA. But then also FTA and FMSHA and all of the different modes. So that, and that's one of the reasons why we're having you there, is because you actually know the FAA regulation better than I do, which is awesome.
me and my other buddy, I don't know which one is showing up. I don't know if it's going to be Raphael or Chet or, whoever. As a matter of fact, I text Chet and asked if he was coming, and he said, what's the date?
Yeah, and Chet, last year, Chet came to our, well, we had it online. It was a virtual conference last year, but Chet did come, and he found out about 30 days beforehand that he was coming.
Well, he loves it, though. He loves it.
Such a professional, just such a getting his stuff ready.
But the funny thing with having these individuals from these agencies and components is that they're held so tight by what they can and can't say, because of, people. It's unfortunate, but someone will take what they say and make it the agency's response.
Right.
So is that what you guys get a lot with the head people from the agencies?
That is what you get sometimes, because they just don't feel comfortable talking frankly. And so that's why sometimes somebody like yourself or like me is a little bit easier to put in there, because people aren't going to quote us as regulators.
Right.
Instead, we can say, this has been my experience, and 90% of the time it's going to go this way, and you can be a little bit looser than the regulators can be.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate because they have so much information, and I just hate that, people will take their every word and turn it into a policy, or if something goes wrong, such and such said, but they're missing out on letting them loose, right, with all that knowledge. So so anyway, so Midland is actually a gold level sponsor, right? And congratulations for her for stepping up and being a part of this. You can never have enough training.
Well, and that's the other thing that makes us a little different, is we don't go out looking for sponsors. So there aren't sponsors, there aren't tables, there aren't booths, there aren't anything like that. Midlands is my backer. And so we don't have a lot of times where we need to hear from this announcer, we need to hear from this sponsor. So there's not that advertisement or infomercials. And even the speakers that we have come in, yes, some of them are from various companies. I mean, Dr. Koontz is going to come speak on oral saliva testing. And Dr. Koontz, he's with CRL Labs, but he's going to come in, and he's not talking about CRL Labs. He is talking about saliva testing. And that's what all the speakers do, is stay away from being infomercials. And instead, they're going to speak about either the regulation or new testing. We have speakers coming in to talk about hair testing and where that stands. And of course, saliva testing, Dr. Koontz. And then we even though it's not something that anybody's going to use tomorrow, it's something to keep an eye on. So we have cognitive impairment, that computer system that looks at cognitive impairment. And we're going to have a speaker there on that. And then also there's a prototype out for breath testing for marijuana influence.
Wow.
Now, those are down the road, but we like to bring that stuff in and, hey, let's look at this. Let's see where it's going, and if you think it's going to be viable in the future.
You know, I have a saying that goes, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so the oral fluids is a big deal right now because it seems to be on the verge of launching at some point.
Right.
So I would love to, I hope that Dr. Koontz covers like how companies should actually start getting prepared.
Right.
You know, because there's still, I think, so many variables that are unknown right now as to confirmation, what type of equipment they're going to be able to use, you know, shide this, or, you know, like all of the things that go wrong, you know.
Right. And he's actually working on a confirmation process and building a process because the regulators haven't designed parameters yet. So he's actually designing parameters that he hopes will assist them in writing up their regulations.
Yeah, I definitely will be sitting in his class, you know, his session as well. So
I'm sure that you've seen stuff that drug and alcohol abuse is on the increase with COVID, and depression, suicide, all of that. And we have Dr. Demers, who's going to come and speak in regards to that, to give people a holistic view, because the goal is really to safety. The goal is safety and to not have people at work under the influence. So we look at a pretty wide view on that. And Dr. Demers is going to talk along that. And we also have an SAP who will speak as well.
So without being biased, who are you looking forward to hearing speak?
That is really hard.
Did I put you on the spot?
That's okay. There's a couple lawyers that are speaking, and I haven't heard either one of these lawyers speak. I read their articles, and they wrote some very, very good articles. So I asked them to speak. So I'm really looking forward to them speaking.
And you would say that with all them law books behind
you. Yeah. Well, and they're going to talk about state laws. One of them, he wrote an article about Iowa state laws, and that Iowa is now saying that you can actually prosecute an employee legally for cheating on a drug test.
Oh, wow.
And I found that really interesting because in actuality, they didn't waive anything for confidentiality. So how's that even going to get turned in?
Yeah, it's so much information out here. Like I just gave a class in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, you know, for my course, and we were talking about, I was trying to get them to give more training to the employees. Like they will do the reasonable suspicion supervisor training annually, and they'll do just enough to get by an audit or what they're required to do. But I'm trying to encourage them to dig deeper into understanding the drug and alcohol program. And what you were saying is, like, you got these state laws, you got, you know, the misunderstanding of CBD oil and prescription meds and all this other stuff, that you can prevent some of your positives and your refusals by, you know, understanding like what your guests are, you know, your speakers are going to be talking about. You know, I think that they need to have more training for their employees.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And one of the biggest problems with that, the bigger the company is, the bigger the problem is, because getting time with those individual employees to train them is not popular.
Yeah.
And you have to get that past leadership. When I was at Union Pacific, I added little chunks of drug and alcohol training to the rules classes, because the engineers and conductors had to have rules classes every year. And I think at the end I had 10 questions on the rules exam that were drug and alcohol related. And that was kind of a miracle to get that. For years, I only had 3 questions.
Wow.
And-
But if
but-
people are creative, they can be creative though. You know, you don't have to take a whole day.
No, you don't. You don't. One of the things that I did is I made these little videos, and they were vignettes or little dramas about a drug and alcohol, taking one policy and having a little vignette about it that kind of played out a little drama. And we use those as commercials in training. So it would be you're training for something else, and then you have a break. Well, we're going to watch this commercial during our break, or when you first get back from the break to get back into the game.
Wow. So tell everybody how they can find out about the association, like the dates, the location, because I know where it's at, and it's beautiful. That facility is beautiful. I can't even lie to you. Like, I've never been whitewater rafting before, and I don't know yet.
You gotta think about that one.
I'm on the fence with it. So I
Well,
don't
I'm
know.
glad you brought that up. So the event is actually the 23rd and 24th of June, but on the 22nd, we've organized a whitewater rafting trip. And so anybody who wants to come a day early, you know, that's going to be a great trip. And we really want to make things family friendly. So families are encouraged to come. Please bring your family, make it into a little vacation, stay a day or 2 extra, and enjoy the scenery there. Because we're going to be right in Colorado Springs at the Cheyenne Mountain Resort. And there's the Garden of Gods are there. In fact, the first night that we have a full day of training after the whitewater rafting, but the first night after training, we're going to dine at the Garden of Gods. So we're going to go to the park there and have a nice little picnic. So everything, we're just kind of embracing that outdoorsy atmosphere that we get to enjoy while we're there.
I've never been to Colorado Springs, been to Denver, of course, but I saw that venue and I said, oh my gosh, this is, and I like the fact that you're not consumed with sponsors and all that other stuff, even though, you know, the stuff would be nice, but it has an atmosphere that's conducive to relaxing and learning and without all of these distractions. But I am dead serious. I don't know about the whitewater rafting yet.
Well, I'm definitely going to go.
I'm adventurous. So I was supposed to go python hunting in the Everglades, but then COVID happened.
Oh, I would have skipped that. There's no way I would do that.
See, if I can, now I said that while I'm sitting in my room. Now getting me out that truck and actually going to find a python, I don't know about that, but yeah. I'm tough right now. So I don't know. Whitewater rafting ain't as bad as python hunting. So, you know.
I would rather go whitewater rafting than python hunting.
Python hunting. You sure? I do whitewater rafting. You go with me to python hunting.
Well, if you'll go whitewater rafting, I will go with you python hunting.
All right. Everybody got that, right? Everybody got that? Why don't she come up with something she got to do? Yeah. So who else that you have on that we haven't mentioned?
Let's see. I'm going to look real quick and see if I missed anybody. One of the things that I don't think I brought this up, so I will. The breakouts. Did I talk about the breakouts?
No.
Okay. So in the afternoon on the second day, each mode, the FAA, the FMCSA, the FRA, the FTA, each one would have their own room that we've just booked a room for them. And we'll put a list of questions in there just to get them started. But this is for them. So if you're not a DER or you're not one of these program managers, it's not your room. You know, it's really for them. And so they'll go in there and they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. If they want to talk about regulators and what audits are like, you know, that's one of the most common things that I've experienced in this sort of breakout before is, okay, so you got audited. What are they concentrating on this year? And those sort of frank conversations that help them get their focus and maybe even help get their leadership in alignment to help them get resources so that they can get ready for an audit.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the bottom line for all of these, components is how do I get prepared for that? So
Well,
and I
and to make sure that we don't leave out the non-regulated folks, because we do have a group of non-regulated folks come, we're going to have a networking for non-regulated people so that they too can bounce ideas off each other, make friends, benchmark programs, all of that good stuff.
and do some of them mirror their testing programs after DOT?
Yes, a lot of them do. A lot of them do.
So this is important for non-regulated who wants to mirror. This is a good symposium for them as well.
Right. And a lot of times, if you want to make sure that your hearings stand up, if you have to dismiss somebody for a positive, if you're mirroring things off the federal guidelines, federal regulations, then it's going to hold up much better in a hearing. It also is going to go down better with unions. There's all kinds of reasons that you might want to at least look at the federal regulations, because Part 40 has been around a long time and it's been challenged extensively. It's a good program and it's a tried and true way to do it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, because a lot of the companies, even though they have safety sensitive employees, they will find themselves in non-regulated situations, even with their safety sensitive employees too. So just because it's not your main program doesn't mean that you're not going to cross over into the non-regulated side as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that is awesome. So here's something interesting that I'm looking at right now. So you can explain how this works, because this is a good thing for me that I'm seeing 8 continuing education units.
We had gotten 8 continuing education units for last year's, and this year, when I submit it, I will get the CEUs again. So I haven't gotten my official CEUs for this year yet. That has to go through the process and be submitted.
Okay. Does it look good? I'm sure it's going to.
It looks good. Each year they have to look at all the bios. They have to look at the agenda and everything else. And then they give the CEUs based on what you provide. And last year's, we were able to get the 8 CEUs. So I expect something similar this year.
Similar. Okay. I didn't want to leave that out, because that's kind of important to some people as far as. Yeah. So that's good. Okay. So, what was I going to say? So we have the sessions, we have the breakouts. Did we cover everybody that's speaking?
I started to look and then I got distracted with those breakouts. So let me see. We talked about Dr. Koontz, and we talked about the police officers. Or did we talk about the police officers? I have 3 different police officers coming.
And those are the ones from
Colorado.
Colorado. No, I think you said something about the attorneys.
So the police officers, one of them, Joe Ryan Hartley, he's going to talk about meth labs.
Okay.
And how you spot a meth lab. And he actually goes out and builds meth labs for police officers to show them how it's done. And he's going to talk about the basics of how you spot one. Then there's 2 different police officers that are going to speak together. And they are going to talk about how legalization of marijuana in Colorado has actually affected the police force and safety. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But they're going to be talking about that. They're calling their presentation, what did they call that presentation? I think it was called Mile High or something. Let me. But in any case, they're calling it, it's Rocky Mountain High, Rocky Mountain High. That's what I like
Mile High better.
And then we also, and some of these presentations will be simultaneously, so that we can go, okay, like for instance, when you're speaking about FAA, we have other people who won't really care as much about FAA, so we're going to give them another option to go to.
I need to know who they are.
Well, the railroads probably won't want to hear about FAA, so we're giving them another option.
Okay.
One of those options is And this one won't be against at the same time as yours, because actually the airlines will care about this one.
Okay.
We have some software that we want to talk about with that is tracking drug testing specifically for airlines.
Okay.
So it's specifically to help airlines get their testing done, and checking out the schedules for the airlines and so on and so forth. And I don't even know anything about that one. I just know it's been in development, and I'm really curious to find out how that one comes out.
I was about to say something earlier about how do you find the meth lab? You just follow the teeth. That's it.
Follow the teeth. Well, when I was researching it, there was actually two professors. Actually, I don't know if I think they were high school professors, and they were using the lab at school to make meth.
Oh, wow. And that was in Colorado?
They called it Breaking Bad for real or something like that in the headline. But
Was that
no,
in Colorado?
Colorado. No, not in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
But just when I was researching some headlines, I found that one. I was like, you've got to be kidding.
That is crazy. So before we go, tell everybody the information again. It's going to be posted in the description box below,
Okay.
along with Midlands information and all the other important information as far as about the the institute itself. And any last things you want to say about the institute? I think it's just awesome.
So the DAT Institute, we just got our website done. So you just type in datinstitute.com and you'll find the website, and you can also register from the website. So there's a registration page there and everything you would need. And in fact, you can also RSVP for whitewater rafting on that website. So that really should get you everything you need if you just type in DAT Institute.
DAT Institute.
And
well,
it's
I am looking forward.
24th.
22nd, that's the whitewater.
22nd is whitewater, yes.
22nd is whitewater. Now it's stuck in my head. Now I got to go practice in the swimming pool.
Well, and on Friday, the Friday of that would be the 25th, I will do signs and symptoms and some post-accident training, just so that people who need to get those qualifications up have that opportunity.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And again, thank you so much for coming on the channel. This is exciting, and I can't wait to honestly get out there and enjoy Colorado Springs and meet some new people in the industry and just have fun being out there. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the invite. This is awesome, Greg. Very, very great of you.
Where's my guy at?
Anthony. He just made sure I was set up earlier, and he's off in the shadows where he hangs out.
He managed? Oh, okay. Well, tell him I said I appreciate everything.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll see you in June 22nd.
Yes.
And remember, guys, it's not Greg's way, it's the Reg's way. And I'll see you guys later.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Bye-bye.